And previously on Epic Mickey, we beat Captain Hook 3 different ways.
Oh yeah, we humiliated that guy.
He is well and truly defeated. So now it's time to go back to Mean Street.
Alright, yeah, we got our rocket parts and all, so I guess we just gotta go back and finish the game, right?
I'm sure there are no other complications. And also, since we decided to help the pirates, you're going back to Tortuga. And the anthropomorphic goats and cows and everyone else are they can live peacefully in Ventureland for the time being.
Alongside the bootleg pirates.
Exactly.
Oh god, he had part of my nightmares.
Smee, why were you holding on to that?
For collateral, he had to take out a particularly nasty loan with Daisy.
I see. Maybe he just asked her to give him a hand.
But she also gave him her chest and a bit of her neck as well. Not sure what was up with that.
This guy is, Jim the Puzzled?
Yeah, these are the side quests that show up if you help the pirates. So if you actually want to do pirate side quests, you have to deny this displaced people access to their homeland.
I mean, like, if you frame things in a certain way, it always sounds bad.
Oh no, another one.
Here we go.
Yes, to quote the great poet of our time, DJ Khaled, another one.
Could you maybe stop laughing like that?
I mean, at least she has all 4 of her limbs. That's an improvement over Goofy.
Look her best. Yep.
Well, I mean,
Yep. Sailor Moon would like a word.
that might be her best, you know?
I like how she's missing a chunk of foot, but still wearing the shoe.
What, do you expect her to go barefoot? Or with only one shoe on?
This is fair.
Huh, I didn't even notice that there was a piece missing from her foot before you pointed it out. Thanks for that.
I'm just sharing my nightmares.
Though it does appear that in the process of helping the pirates back to Tortuga, we may have accidentally gentrified Ventureland.
They get the Starbucks next week.
Yep. Well, I mean, there has been one new shop that's opened up over to the left.
Oh, dang. It's always how it starts.
And there it is. That is the tiki shop. Sorry, excuse me, the hut shop. Thankfully, it doesn't have that much in stock.
I'm gonna use my powers of ESP and say they're selling. Oh, they actually aren't selling those collectible thingies.
They're selling concept art.
I just kind of figured like all the other shops have been selling those, so.
Oh, there's the pin.
And this is a permanently missable health upgrade. It will not appear if you help the pirates.
Oh.
Unfortunately, even if you help Damien, Salt, and Henrietta get together, they are doomed to suffer through a long-distance relationship. because one of them has to leave by the time you deal with Captain Hook.
So you're gonna get her ice cream despite the fact that she's... Uh-huh.
And this is kind of a strange one, just a free power spark.
Huh. Yeah, we didn't even have to do any sort of, questing for that. Just, they're just handing them out.
Yeah, and we're already at 24 power sparks. There is one secret towards the end of the game where the game kind of assumes you'll have to go out of your way to collect a bunch of that, and that requires 30.
So what you're saying is that this, we're more or less, in the, mid to late game at this point?
We're in the latter half, certainly.
Oh god, they've got all the upgrades here.
Just the one. I think TV upgrades are exclusive to the general store on Main Street, I think.
I see. So those are just refills of your health and your paint and your thinner.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really overpriced. Like, why would you spend 50 e-tickets on a combined paint and thinner refill? Very strange.
Especially when you can just kind of spin attack things in the environment and get it for free.
Yeah, I don't think I actually mentioned that there is something of a hidden mechanic towards health pickups, which is that depending on how much health you have, the less health you have, the higher chance that you'll get an extra charged health pickup, which will give you back 3 pips of your health instead of just 1.
I see. So it's sort of like a catch-up mechanic, kind of similar to how, Resident Evil 4 and those type of games do it.
Kind of, yeah.
Interesting. So it's forgiving to a certain extent.
Yeah. Also, Oswald, you're not doing anything. You really got to keep a tighter leash on your kids.
I kind of did peg Oswald as being sort of an absentee dad.
Which is not helping considering what Hortensia is up to these days.
It's difficult to be a single father of 5,000 youngins.
Maybe we shouldn't tell about the part where we kind of killed a few.
It's cool, Oswald can't count.
And Oswald has a special animation if you thin him out here. Poor guy.
We're gonna fix that, right?
Yep.
Oh, he gets very upset.
I mean, wouldn't you?
I don't think I've mentioned this up until now, but Oswald's voice actor, he has been around for a very long time. His name is Frank Welker.
Oh, I know Frank Welker.
Aha.
Basically, if you've seen any television cartoon since the 1960s, you've probably heard his voice. Probably best known as the original and primary voice, even today, of Fred Jones on Scooby-Doo.
Did you know that nets have been used in hunting for over 30,000 years?
No one wants to hear your net facts, Fred.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, as well as taking over the voice for Scooby himself in the last 20 years or so.
And let's see, apparently he's also done Megatron at some point.
Yeah, he was the original voice for Megatron in the G1 cartoons.
And Soundwave, tell them there'll be a special reward in it for them.
Oh.
Yes!
Which he reprised recently in the unfortunately delisted Platinum Games title Transformers Devastation, which I have considered Let's Playing at some point. As if I can't be any more of a knockoff of Chip Cheesum's style.
Hey, you know what? If it works, it ain't bad. I built most of my career off of plagiarism.
There's been an increase in terror-related comedy in Bog Easy, apparently.
Terror-related comedy. That's a phrase.
Anyway, easy way to catch up to the Bunny Children here. Just throw down a watch sketch. Unfortunately, it seems to have bugged out a bit. But there are 3 Bunny Children. Each of them gives 1 power spark.
After, a little bit of violence.
Just some roughhousing with their favorite uncle. Now, the aggro range for the television is actually pretty wide, but it's not infinite. So you do have to be careful with your television placement.
Yeah, I imagine.
That is also a move I've done a couple times before, but haven't really pointed it out, which is that you can jump. You can bunny hop, or mouse hop as the case may be, while using either paint or thinner, though the stream breaks if you try to double jump.
Get back here, kid.
Okay, as long as we promise not to tell Oswald what we did to his kids. At some point, he's going to figure out that we've been throwing, like, a few dozen of his kids in jail, right?
I think you might be giving him too much credit. Ooh, spooky.
I remember that. That was one of the first major pieces of concept art, I think, that was leaked out back in 2009 or so. I've got a collection of that in that period, like from... Oh, by the way, I also realized I had to do some grinding. So, yeah, I did some grinding off screen, as you can see.
Wow.
Holy
I
crap.
maxed out our current wallet.
Can we get a wallet that goes up to 9999?
I think so. The default, as I've mentioned before, is 1,000. Anyway, I have far too many images that were created by excited fans, mostly of Warren Spector's earlier games, that had heard rumors that he was working at Disney, and then that concept art leaked, and the fan art that came out of that was absolutely crazy. I need to put some of that in the thread.
Yeah, people seem to really like spooky and honestly kind of freaky stuff.
Yeah, and also keeping in mind that the concept art that was leaked, most of it anyway, that stuff was in that early experimental pre-production phase where the art team didn't know how much they'd be able to get away with, and so they were under, their specific objective when creating that art was to actually go as far as they could.
And boy, did they ever.
This is... Whoa.
Yeah, that is part of the Alice in Wonderland area that was cut at the last minute. I think I talked about it before in an earlier video.
I mean, American McGee's already done Spooky Alice.
It's true. I'm starting to see a theme in the concept art where they maybe didn't want to go down the road of used thematic areas like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, they wanted to test the waters first and then establish boundaries once they've hit the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you can't just smell the bunnies, right next door?
No, Pete has far too many important things to be doing.
Well, no, I'm saying he's saying there are more bunnies out there. I can smell them, and it's like, yeah, like there's a whole cell of them just over there.
Well, the gimmick of this one is that they're all hiding in barrels, and more importantly, they're barrels that don't appear on the map at any other time. So this is kind of a joke stage of the side quest.
I honestly don't know why we're still side questing, considering that, as you said, our target is 30. Is there anything even worth getting, like, with more power sparks?
Well, I want to show off as much of the game as I can, you know? I mean, at this point, you could if you're playing the game for yourself, you could probably stop at 30. But, I mean, I guess there are also some, there's some route planning you would have to do if you want to get true 100%, which, again, requires doing those exclusive... Oh, hello, camera. Doing some of those mutually exclusive side quest chains on, consecutive playthroughs.
Do you at least get, like, a pin for getting 100%?
Well, there's on your save file, in the top right corner, there is there is a Mickey Mouse head that appears each time you play through the game, and I think it adds an extra flare effect when you get everything that you possibly can on 3 playthroughs.
I see.
Oh god, that's a lot of rabbits.
Yep.
Sure is. On the plus side, though, we will be able to suck them all into the vacuum at once.
Yeah, small mercies. Now, see, if I was making this game here, like, what I would say is, like, at 100%, you just basically get infinite amounts of painted thinner. Like, you just basically don't have to worry about getting refills. Like, that's what I think a good reward would be.
Funny enough, there's a hidden mechanic that's kind of like that in Epic Mickey 2. My current plan is to just do like a small preview of Epic Mickey 2 and record that live for the two of you. But I'll have to remember to see if I can get that working as well. It's not so much infinite as much as it is something that allows you to, in exchange for not being able to get other upgrades, you can have maxed out paint and thinner pretty much almost from the beginning of the game. But of course, you have to trade something else in exchange.
I suppose that's fair.
Mickey's soul is actually worth that much?
Well, no, you have to add the power spark too.
Oh, interesting. Like, I think, like a car just came roaring by.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, I tell you, like, finding a nice isolated space where you can't get any noises is kind of difficult. Always something,
Now, unfortunately, I'm going to spoil this right away. I actually forgot about this side quest when I ended up going to Bog Easy. And also because you have to be extra careful. Because, that is not an idle threat from Pete. If you manage to grab the Colonel Pete film reel and go and you get your bum burned a couple times, it will destroy the film.
And so, what, you can't do the side quest over again?
Nope.
That's devious.
That's cruel. And I'm guessing there's a power spark involved with it?
Pete, it's been literally 5 seconds. Please shut up. You just gave us that quest. Why are you demanding that we turn over the film reel already? Which we know we won't do anyway.
Well, he's Pete. Like, I feel like we can maybe, like, take our time with doing any goals for him.
One missed opportunity in the story that I think would have been nice is if it turned out that all of the different Petes were actually just Big Bad Pete with multiple personalities. But unfortunately, Epic Mickey 2 confirms that they are in fact separate beings. Well, it looks like we found our Tiki Mask thief. We are gonna purchase this tiki mask, yeah.
She made art, sold it to the tiki store, and then she stole it back again.
Sounds like she had regrets when it came to selling her art.
Alternatively, she wanted to double dip.
Well, that's a possibility too.
Artists gotta eat.
Now, if you remember, we actually did buy the ice cream back when we were doing the original Pirates Love side quest, and I am somewhat disappointed that it doesn't take that into account, that you can instantly finish the side quest if you had the ice cream already. But, oh well.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
Huh.
And hey, look, I think we found the answer to Jim's riddle. There it is.
I forgot already, actually. What was Jim's riddle?
Oh, and also there's a botanist here who will ask us to fill in all the plants here in Ventureland.
I'm kind of surprised you weren't doing it already. Like, I know, like, me, like, if I was playing this game, I probably would be obsessively filling in everything.
This section is quite tedious, so at some point I think I condensed it to a highlight reel after a while. Jim's riddle, by the way, was about a mask who wanted to be fed some paint, and that was the tiki mask above the shop in Ventureland.
I mean, that's not really a riddle. It's just basically saying, hey, do this.
It's a tutorial riddle.
Also, Jim the Puzzled isn't very smart.
Well, yeah, he's the puzzled, not the riddler, for a reason. Everyone's figured out how to outsource their problems to Mickey, is the thing. That seems to be the recurring motif that holds together all the NPCs in Wasteland. Yeah, it's right about here. Here's a little clip show of all of the plants that I painted in.
"30 freaking plants." They really think you got time on your hands, don't they?
I mean, are they wrong?
I guess, you know, like, as I said, like, you're already at your target goal, so all the rest of it is just, do you like side questing?
Well, we still have to go to Bog Easy for the purposes of the story, but when it comes to when it comes to things we need from Gremlin Marcus, at least. So while we have some time here, as I've mentioned before, I used to speedrun this game, you know, back many years ago. But in the time since I stopped speedrunning Epic Mickey, a community has grown up, and they have made some incredible advancements in terms of just bringing this game to its knees. There are many different tricks that can be used. Although I've chosen the two biggest ones to talk about here. First one is something called CFR, which stands for Cutscene Free Roaming. It is a technique where if you manage to interrupt one of those, the FMV cutscenes, if you manage to interrupt that with a text box, it then, I think it desynchronizes the things so that eventually you'll be able to walk during cutscenes. I mean, you can't see where you're going half the time, but that's beside the point.
If you've been speedrunning this game, then you should be able to tell where you're headed just because you memorized it so well.
Well, I mean, with this game's camera, it's always a coin toss. And then there's something else. It's called LSS, which stands for Levitating Spray Stream, effectively allowing Mickey to fly.
Interesting. I'm guessing that, but just by the name, somehow the paint stream is actually, like, used to propel you somehow.
I'll get to that in a minute, though I do want to point out here that Mrs. Hatchaway is apparently the Epic Mickey universe's equivalent of Lizzie Borden. We're going to have to find the murder weapon in Lonesome Manor, which is where we'll be going next episode.
Horace is taking on real cases now.
Yeah.
Ah.
Took him long enough.
So we're transitioning from pirates to horror now?
Yeah, the next area, Bog Easy, is based on New Orleans Square, as well as Lonesome Manor. Clarabelle is going to spend the rest of the game in her kitchen cooking batter, which ends up being quite funny in some particular late game situations, let's say.
I think that this game being a theme park, basically, everyone's just sort of playing out their roles.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that that might not even be cake batter. She's just like swirling a spoon around basically an empty painted bowl.
Okay, so to explain a little bit what LSS actually does, so you may have noticed that when you're, you have the blast move, which is like a short-range shotgun, which also works in midair. And there's something about the physics of that particular move where very briefly it makes Mickey considerably floatier than he usually is. So when you double jump and you alternate or you hold down either the paint or thinner button and then briefly within like a couple frame window tap the other of the paint or thinner buttons, it resets the physics so that it stays in that specific floating state, and that allows Mickey to, with a trail of paint or thinner streaming from his brush, fly up in the air, and then eventually, after he runs out of paint or thinner, he'll just sit there flailing while continuing to fly upward.
I can see how that could have some applications.
I'm not doing it justice. It's even funnier than it sounds.
Well, I'm sure you could probably like splice in some footage of the trick being done somewhere around here.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'll also send you a link to the trick in action. So, funny thing, in the speedrunning community, Abner is kind of infamous, because when you're walking around Oztown trying to do some of the basic stuff, when you're backtracking, like this the first time you go, after you go through Mickey Jump Mountain, it is notoriously easy to accidentally talk to Abner, and he will waste like almost a full minute introducing the thin out the Gag Factory cutscene. So he has become a particularly notorious figure among the game's speedrunners.
I see. Trying to not to fall into those notorious Abner traps.
Exactly. I forgot to turn this in the first time. So he's reunited two cousins who look like brothers, but as the conversation with them said earlier, they were actually I forget what it was. Yeah, their fathers were cousins, but they were also mistaken for brothers.
Interesting.
Now, even if you have the required power sparks I think you still need to track down the bunnies before Marcus will help you. Oswald's bunny children.
He has altered the deal. Pray he does not alter it any further.
Seems pretty content with things right about now, though.
It is kind of funny how everybody just gets hooked on TV every time you drop one down.
Oh, by the way, you can pause the video now. Because I realized that I that was supposed to be where the video would cut off, but I left in the next 2 minutes of basically filler by accident. Whoops, sorry about that.
So we're not supposed to be watching the rest of it?
It's like an extra 2 or 3 minutes. It's the kind of stuff that I do in the background. Like at the end of every recording session, I pause the game, quit, and then load up the various concept art so I can splice it in later, that sort of thing.
Ah, I see. So effectively, we're going into overtime right now.
Yeah, you get to see a bit of the behind the scenes magic for yourselves. And with that, next time we will go to Bog Easy and find out the last bit. What's up with Lonesome Manor? This is actually the last major area of the game before the end game starts. So we're that's going to be pretty exciting, I think.
Well, I hope so.
Excellent.
It's going to be pretty hard to follow up on, all the Tortuga stuff. That was pretty good.
I mean, it doesn't have Tortuga beat when it comes to scope or just sheer scale of the thing. Like there are no huge maps in the way that that they were before. But I still like the Lonesome Manor. I think it's a pretty good area.
It has moxie.
It does.